So many of y'all wanted some scary stories from Japan, and I can tell you right now it's only 7:45 p.m. where I'm at, and already the neighborhood roads get empty really fast. So tonight we're going to talk about the Onryo. That's also the evil spirits that inspired the movie The Grudge. And if you've ever seen The Grudge, it is absolutely terrifying, and it takes place here in Japan. Now I'm going to talk about a bunch of different spirits in this, but the first one is the Hitara Okoto. Now, what I thought was scary about this is it is a man that is extremely slender and narrow that hides in little nooks and crannies around the home or the streets in these very slender, hard to get to places, and he stares at you. He will stare at you until you notice. Now, some of these slender places inside the home could be, between blinds or like narrow parts of the walls, but also in the streets. Like how, see, this looks like a normal street and a normal, like, houses and stuff. But then look at this little narrow area that is barely tight enough to squeeze through, and you'd look back there and you'd see a face of someone staring back. In fact, they say if you're ever alone in your home and you feel like someone is watching you, it's the Hishira Toku, and he's hiding somewhere in the house, and it's like his little sick, twisted game that you must find him in his very hard to get to place that you would never think about looking. So that just kind of creeps me out, because I have felt that feeling a lot. I think we all have. When we think we're alone and we just get this overwhelming sense that someone is watching us, and you never know where he could be hiding at. The next one, and possibly one of the most terrifying on this list, is going to be the Teke Teke woman. Now, I originally heard about this on a Mr. Ballin podcast, so I dug a little bit deeper into it when I was here. So Teke Teke comes from the noise Teke, Teke, Teke. And that's the blood that drips from her upper half of her body, because she was a lady that was hit by a train, and she was severed into two, her top half and her lower half. So you can encounter either the lower half or the top half. The lower half is not dangerous whatsoever. It's just extremely scary and creepy. But wherever her lower half is, her upper half is somewhere nearby. Now, her upper half is the scary part. The upper half moves incredibly slow because she has to pull herself with her hands. And she's dragging this blood trail everywhere, and she looks horrifying, obviously. But if she touches you, if she catches you, she then also rips you in half. So she moves very, very slowly. She makes a ton of noise, apparently. Her body creaks and aches, and she moans and groans with all the pain, and then she is also making that teke teke noise. But if she catches you, like I said, she makes sure that you have the same fate she had. Now, this was originally inspired by a real-life story of two train operators who did hit a lady that was on the tracks on purpose. And once she was hit, the train operators got off the train after hitting the brakes. They went to go check on her, and they only found her lower half. They could not locate the upper half until about an hour later. After authorities had searched the area thoroughly, the authorities had left, and right before they got on the train, they actually saw that she had drug her upper half to the top of the train and was trying to get in through a window on the top down there to them. Now, that is just the legend and the myth behind it, but it was inspired by a real-life train accident where a woman did purposely stand on the tracks. Now, this is the one that was on The Grudge that was so scary. This is the Kakayo Seki, and they are the women that you see with the stringy black hair, kind of like Samara from The Ring, or from, like I said, The Grudge. They tend to move backwards, and they like to crawl down the staircases backwards, and they move their bodies in really awful ways where you can hear their bones snapping and cracking and breaking every step that they take and every motion they make. They are horrifying. They are after your soul, and they will cause you extreme bodily, physically harm, as well as making you sick by just existing in that household. The good news is, apparently, if you run out of the house, they can't follow you. They are household bound. So they are not creatures that do move from location to location. They are strictly in that one area. They're seen as being extremely pale, sometimes bluish skin. Then there's the Zakishi. Now, the Zakishi is what the little boy in The Grudge that opened his mouth really wide and screamed was. That was between the bed and the wall, and the guy rolled over. The most horrifying part of the movie, in my opinion. So child spirits in Japan are apparently really good luck as long as you appease them and leave them offerings and always respect them. The second you disrespect them or try to cast them out, it can be extremely immediately, like, bad things will happen to you, like financial ruins, health problems, family separation, just like all kinds of, just wild, crazy stuff. So they say that if there's a child spirit in the home, that they're not supposed to cast it out. They're supposed to just respect it, leave it offerings. And I think that's kind of sweet, honestly, that because, if it's a child spirit, it's obviously lost and can't figure its way out. The slit-mouth woman is a horrifying one on this list. It is supposedly a lady that you could pass by when you're kind of in a dark alley or a road by yourself, and she would be wearing a surgical mask. Now, around here, even before COVID, it was very popular for everyone to wear the surgical mask, and she apparently has beautiful eyes, and she would walk up to you and ask, "Am I pretty?" And if you say no, then some kind of horrible curse will befall you, or she might even kill you right then and there. If you say yes, she will remove the mask, exposing that she has a slit in her mouth all the way to ear, and she has sharp, jagged, disgusting teeth. And then she will ask again, "Am I still pretty?" If you answer yes again, then she will let you walk away. But if you look frightened or show that you're disgusted in any kind of way, or straight out say no, then she will attack you and mostly go for the throat or the face, leaving you disfigured or kill you. Now, my luck, I'll get taken out by this dude. And this is the Akamanto. The Akamanto is also known as Red Cloak, and he haunts like a very specific niche place, and it's the last restroom that's like the handicap stall of any public restroom, because you shouldn't be using those unless you're handicapped. He will apparently crawl under the door with a kabuki mask on with a red cloak, and he will ask you, "Do you want the red toilet paper or the blue toilet paper?" Now, I thought this sounded like it was the red pill, blue pill from the Matrix, but it's not. It's not at all. If you choose the red toilet paper, he will kill you. If you choose the blue toilet paper, he will kill you, but like nicer. You're done either way if you see this dude. This next one is even weirdly more specific, and it's the Hanako. Now, the Hanako, you can actually watch a anime on Hulu about this called Toilet Bound Hanako. Now, a Hanako is a girl spirit that specifically haunts the third stall of the girls' bathroom, only on third floors, and it's mainly in schools. Not always in schools, but mainly in schools. So the third stall of the third floor, just don't use that one. Like, apparently it's like extremely superstitious here, so a lot of girls' restrooms on the third floor won't even have a third stall option. It's very strange. It's very niche. I don't know how they even came up with that, but apparently if you go to one of these girls' bathrooms in the third stall on the third floor, it's kind of like our Bloody Mary. They'll go in there and they'll say Hanako, Hanako, Hanako 3 times. And if they do that, she's supposed to come out of the toilet. It is what it is. I didn't make the rules for this. Now, all these things that I talked about tonight, the Onryo, those are all born from like when someone dies in an extreme rage or desperation, or like a very bad situation. Okay, so like if a child got lost from its parents and died, it was confused and scared, so the spirit might have went into a nearby home. If it was a woman that was left by her husband and she's mad and angry and maybe took her own life, then she would come back as one of those that we talked about earlier. So the Onryo are not just wandering ghosts. It's mainly when somebody dies in a very bad way, pretty much like the American ghost, but Onryo seem to attach very specifically to one location. Now, the Tiki, like I talked about earlier, that is not a Onryo. That would be a wandering spirit, and she is apparently all over Tokyo, anywhere where you would find trains, railroads, and subways, in the nearby homes and streets around those areas. Follow the podcast if you're not already. It's Matt from Nomads on Spotify and Apple Podcast, and it's Matt. No, it's not. It's Nomads Animal Reserve on YouTube. Matt from Nomads, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Nomads Animal Reserve, YouTube. But just think about that while you're laying in bed tonight. The Pillar Man could be in any of those little tiny gaps, anywhere in your room, peeking at you from just the weirdest, oddest places while you're trying to fall asleep.